You guys wanted CVG, so CVG you shall get. If this is going to load. Carnage has figured out where the accept button is, so we're going to start. Yeah, buddy. Alright, boys and girls, place your bets. So, by the way, I didn't mean that in a monetary sense. We're not able to monetize it as per the GCUR, as set by Microsoft. So, that's only down to in-game gold, which is a non-transactable currency. So anyway, spawning in the top corner as the blue Greek player, we have our people's champion, Greeky. And spawning in the bottom corner as the red Celt, it's the older man, Carnage. So I wonder if we're just going to see the barracks v barracks opening here. And we're almost certainly going to see it. I mean, why wouldn't you? As either civ in this matchup, why wouldn't you seize the opportunity to seize the initiative, really? And get that spearman out as quickly as you can. And try and force your opponent off their hunt, because both civs are really, really food dependent early game. Particularly at the moment the other one gets a barracks, where you just need to either get spears or you counter infantry out, because otherwise you're pretty much rat shit the moment you start to slip behind economically in this matchup. Well, it goes for either civ, really. It's a really fun but knife edge sort of matchup where a small mistake can cost you everything. So, Greeky already going to send his to be defensive. Carnage going to probably be rallying his straight across the map. So we got 6 on food here, 6 on food here. Neither of these players has figured out that there's a tech in the game called hunting dogs. So we won't tell them, guys. Shh, no need to tell them about hunting dogs. Greeky actually walling up with his houses, so this is pretty stock standard. You don't really even want to have that house any further away than about that, because otherwise you can't get any protection out of it with the town centre. But it's quite common to see players in pretty much any matchup at a high level do this, stacking their houses up around the sides when they think they might be harassed by any means. And that's a really nice, really huge clump of trees there. That's one thing you got to give Sheltered Pass, is that the wood lines in it are really, really nice. Like I generally, I don't know, see the map as a worse equal footing, just because all this is places that would otherwise be resources and equal footing, but instead it's impassable terrain, which also means that walling up is really, really easy. So you get a resident sleeper of an age 4 game. It's not a battle to get there, it's a given, and that's bullshit, bro. So Carnage, so Greeky with the age 2 inbound, Carnage choosing to continue to produce more villages. I think he might go for one more and then age up. I'm just gonna make funny sounds when I yawn, boys and girls, I think. So there's a good spearman count here for Carnage, but a good one here for Greeky as well. And Greeky has brought the spears along, but they're gonna get caught up attacking the scout, and Carnage has pulled the spearman away, so Greeky is sort of going to have figured out that this is coming, but isn't going to have seen it to the last moment, so to speak. Carnage may be able to snipe this storehouse, or at least a couple of villagers at it, so he is going to do exactly that, get a pair of villagers, back off without taking a hit. So that's just perfect Celt play so far. Greeky is not actually producing any villages at the moment, because that was his food gathering at this point in time. He hasn't actually scouted out another hunt at this stage, I don't believe. So Carnage able to force another pullback from Greeky, so this is going to continue to hurt him, because if he doesn't manage to get the food out, he's not able to produce the villages and actually get any advantage out of going for such an early age too. So really nice job there by Carnage, just dodging and weaving, losing a single spear to take 2 villagers out, really slow Greeky down, basically get a third out of that because of the lock up here, and Greeky is probably going to be a bit rattled by that, so to speak. But he is quite a standout player as well, so I think he might be able to bounce back from this, but there are longswordsmen in the mix. I wonder if Carnage is going to look at adding in his Bard Hall upgrades early, because it does give you that nice speed advantage over the Hypaspis when your whole infantry composition can just run that little bit faster. Carnage has a perfect tell about that town centre, and is looking to try and force Greeky off here. Greeky gonna have to try and wander all these villages all the way up the top now to take that berries out, and this hunt storehouse is gonna get denied, so that's nice job there from Carnage. Greeky is gonna have to take 2 sets of berries basically and devote a little bit more extra villages to them. He's even getting Picker's Gloves, which is a really good tech because it gives you 20%, whereas most of the other gathering techs give you 10%. So 20%, that's pretty fucking big, bro. So you really want that, and Carnage in the meantime has been able to respond with a TC that's quite greedy all the way over here, so it's going to give him flexibility and being able to take a safe market line later on if he wishes to. Things like that. Greeky has quite a safe one, so it makes his market options early a little bit more limiting. He's going to want to try and expand outwards later on in the game to actually get his markets up now. Whereas Carnage, he can sort of chuck one here, get a nice gather rate from here, and then chuck a later one over here if he's able to. Greeky can also do the same though, mind you, if he wants to go over here, if he can manage to. He's just continuing just to snipe stuff from around here, and that's the storehouse with handsaw on it. So that's actually quite a big snipe for Carnage. So Greeky is forced to have to research handsaw elsewhere, and I don't think he's even realised yet. I'm actually just going to resign, just to make it as little lag as possible. Carnage with a really good snipe there. No handsaw for Greeky just yet then. Greeky, 30 villages, 33 of Carnage. He's needing to force out a lot of quick houses, but he will do that in due time. Carnage actually distance gathering off these deer for the time being. And so we've got the slingers being added in the mix. There's actually 3 archery ranges, but I think Carnage has sort of expected it really. He's only gone for the 1 archery range himself. He's gone for 2 racks at this stage, and sort of depending on what he goes for next, he might be able to throw Carnage off, because if he's got an awful lot of slingers, but the Greek is going to have Hypaspis, then it actually becomes a little bit of a Greek favoured fight, really. So Carnage just bringing everything back, he just wants to be sure that he's safe at home. Greeky not looking at moving out at all just yet, just letting his forces build up. He's still got those 6 spears from when he started, so that's also a gift and a curse really. The spears themselves aren't going to trade well with anything from the Celt army, except Celt spears, but it is sort of something at this stage, and if he rallies them straight onto the slingers, that could actually be quite a fair bit of value. Carnage actually walling up the sides just to give himself all the breathing space he needs. That's a really sort of crappy gold deposit, really risky, whereas these ones over on Greeky's side, really nice and defendable really. You've only got to chuck up that small wall segment versus this monstrosity, this great wall of carnage. Greeky smart here to lead a couple of Hypaspis ahead just to give himself a bit of intel with what he's about to run into with his army. Everything else though, because the Toxoides are walking with them, that's 1 speed less. Oh, some of the spears as well. So he's going to have to slowly park and then drag them forward. Carnage with a very nice market line here, but it's also quite a bit greedy, and it's going to walk just about out to this pass bit. So looks like Greeky is going to try and punish the greedy. But he's going to run into a bit of an obstacle here. There is walls here to prevent him from being able to just bulldoze his way through here. Carnage is a bit of an expert at playing a map like this, although I suppose it probably pisses him off too, because he doesn't really like turtley stuff. So he's going to lose a couple of villages here and get these houses delayed. So Greeky has picked a good time to engage here, I think. But there is so many slingers, so the infantry of Greeky needs to get right on top of these slingers ASAP. And so do the Saris, otherwise they'll just be able to work a lot like a bowman, really, when you've got that many. And Greeky doesn't have his whole force here engaging at once either, so that's going to make it a bit rough. Carnage is parked just on the edge of his TC range. So Greeky is perhaps going to be able to get these houses. But Carnage is possibly just using this as a bit of a bait, really, because all these slingers getting their 10% extra damage from the druid as well. Although the druid, ooh, very brave druid. Carnage doing a wonderful job securing vision around the map right now. But he's got a scout behind enemy lines. It's a spy. Fuck, I'm tired. It's not that the game's boring, it's just that I'm tired as fuck. It's actually interesting as fuck watching these guys play. Except Greeky, you need to move in, do some harass, come on, let's do something, let's be active, go, go, go. Come on, man. Carnage getting the quicker of the age 3s, as well as getting his armor techs. Greeky also getting armor techs. And trying to put in a bit of harass right now as well. So Greeky is going to try and cut down some of these slingers with his little force of infantry right now. So villager counts, we got 76 to 69. Greeky basically waiting on the whole of the age up now. Just a whole minute behind. Carnage already taking a third TC, but this time quite conservative TC this one. It's right next to his second TC, and he's just got this huge mass of slingers. He's got 60 slingers right now. So Greeky is going to have to hard transition onto Saris, because otherwise he's not going to be able to deal with this. He's just not going to have the counter ranged damage in his composition to be able to deal with this, except for maybe Peltus if he wants to work them in, and then he's sort of really vulnerable. That's a lot of villagers taking a lot of damage. 63 villagers. Carnage already up to 82. So 61 versus 82. 20 villager lead. Quite significant, really. Watch post going up here for Greeky. So Greeky doing his best to secure vision and deny Carnage the opportunity to get it, but ooh, that's also not so good for Greeky. That'll slowly chip away at that caravan. Even if it's only 20, 30, 40 life each time. You know, it's only a matter of time. If you're not paying attention, you can actually lose units that way, but I think Greeky is going to deal with that. But Carnage has got such good vision of that. He's got two watch posts basically side by side here. He might go for something similar to what he did last game. I mean, what he did in the first game, where he put siege workshops in quite a close range to the market to try and sack him really, really quickly. 60 slingers here for Carnage, a whole bunch of eco techs. Greeky, Carnage got a whole bunch of words behind this as well, so Greeky is really going to be punished if he goes for any sort of ranged unit here. But he's just really messing up Hypaspis. And he's got plenty of Toxotes still, but he really... Oh, there's plenty of Saris here. It's not quite enough though to deal with 60 slingers, I don't think, because that's... Man, that's a shitload of slingers. What the fuck, Carnage? What are you doing? But I suppose if he makes it work, then we're all the idiots, right? Leaving the storehouse there on 3 health because fuck it, he can snipe it later. Instead, he's going to snipe this market. And over here, on the other side, he's going to try and drop a watch post. But can he get there in time? I'm not sure, because Greeky might be able to interrupt that. Maybe throw up some walls as well of his own on that side of the map. But oh, looks like Greeky has interrupted one little wall off segment here of Carnage. Carnage again punishing Greeky for this quite forward market line. It's really optimal to have it there from a gathering perspective, but it's really, really hard to defend it a lot of the time unless you're the player that's taken the initiative on all the walling around this side of the map, or, you know, the side that you take it. Well, this is interesting. Greeky with a little proxy tower. So we'll see how that pans out for him. There's still 60 slingers here. And there's a whole bunch of woads here for Carnage as well. A couple of druids, just to keep them in tip-top shape. And Greeky just chasing his opponent around with his whole army composition at the moment. Carnage just ferrying these slingers around the map. And that's a nice spot for them to be fighting, really, because it makes it hard for the infantry to try and get through to them. But at the same time, Carnage I think is just going to go for it. Just going to keep on working his way up the map, throw these units away, while getting as much value out of them as he can while he marches up. Try and catch Greeky into making the wrong production choices if he can. So if he can stack these guys up somewhere in the corner or on the edge of the map, he can deal quite a fair bit of good damage, force Greeky to have to go for a very anti-slinger comp, and then turn around and smack it with woads or cavalry or a mix of those. So Carnage is going to lose most of these slingers, or all these slingers, for very little gain. But in the meantime, the Woad Raiders have come in on the bottom side of the map, bottom side of Greeky's base, and he's sniping all the houses, sniping a bit of the production, forcing villagers to pull back off the farms. So Greeky moving his whole army composition down to try and deal with this now, but there's 20 Woad Raiders right now, and they seem to be really putting in the work on this town centre. The Carnage forced to have to flee. Never actually getting that watchtower up, but I think he might possibly look at heading over there again. These Peltas would be sitting ducks, but Carnage is opting not to even go for them. He can't even see it, he's too busy macroing up in the background. And now I think these guys are going to be... Oh, look. Quick, get the Peltas, the one unit that you counter out of that. No, they didn't. Okay. What are you doing? So he snipes another Hypaspis with a bunch of Woad Raiders. But here we go. He is going to interrupt a bit of Greeky's production. So this is really going to sort of upset the apple cart, I think. Greeky has so many units massed up down here, and in the meantime, Carnage is just picking off all of his workers. So we got 61 workers to 83. Carnage is really making use of getting a 20 worker lead and just ferrying these faster Woad Raiders around the map. Like they're at 9.4 speed. The only thing of Greeky's that can really catch those is his cavalry at this stage. So it's going to be hard for Greeky to deal with these constant hit and runs from the Kelp player. And oh, it looks like there were some Saris that tried to come in and harass Carnage, but they were just sniped completely, so that's really not good for Greeky. Oh, and instead of heading all the way down the market, Carnage has just waited here for a caravan, and this might even be a reasonable fight. Carnage is already age 4, so he's already got the Woad champs, so he's got even better damage on these little buggers. They've even got their little charge. And he might be able to snipe this market if he's lucky. Looks like Greeky's actually pulling the rest of his forces back, and he probably could have cleaned up this, I think. But I think he's also anticipating more pressure up somewhere else, which Carnage is definitely going to apply. The Woads do eventually get cleaned up, but not before they take out one of the markets. And they're going to head around the other side of Greeky's base. So Carnage is doing a good job at this hit and run style. Greeky still having been unable to finish off these barracks. And Greeky again is going to have to garrison a lot of these villages on the farms. He's 76 to 84 population, so he's doing what he can to bounce back in the population count, the worker population count. But Carnage is continuing to try and raid buildings around the map, try and force villager pullbacks. See, 14 garrison there, so that's really slowing down Greeky's economy. He's having to get a lot of Hypaspists who are still slower than the Woad Raiders. And even with champion mode, even with champion Hypaspis, it's really hard to deal with champion Woads, so the Kelp player is really able to take advantage of his mobility in this matchup. And the rights have come in, so that's right of Radis, so 15% increased damage to buildings. Greeky is going to have to work hard to try and prevent this loss right now, because that right of Radis is really going to increase any damage to buildings. Yeah, a 1.5 multiplier against any buildings, and it's quite hard for the Hypaspis to deal with this, but Carnage probably did wait a little bit too long to be able to try and work down the town centre there, I think. In the meantime, here we go. So Carnage, 63 Woad Raiders. There's more. So it looks like Greeky just has to do everything he can to stay alive against these bloody Woads. So this main town centre of Greeky's is really in a precarious spot at the moment, because there's just not enough Hypaspis to really defend against this, and it does get sniped. So Carnage is going to try and snipe his markets as well now with these. He's got his big set of Woad Raiders up here. He's got nearly 40 of them still, and he's got about 15 over here as well. So he's going to snipe both these markets, potentially get another town centre here. In fact, he is going to get this town centre. So Greeky down to only one town centre at this point. Really, really rough spot to be in. Another big bunch of Woad Raiders coming in, and Greeky just can't get out the units to be able to handle this, I don't think. Carnage is going to try and snipe this other town centre that has gone back up. I mean, his only finished town centre at the moment, so that's really drastic. Another one is being built right now. So Greeky, 2 town centres in production, none actually out in the field. Carnage has 70 Woad Raiders at the moment. Greeky's population probably isn't enough to really deal with this at the moment. Right of Andrasta kicking in, so that's just flat 15% bonus damage rather than 50% anti-building that Radis offers. So right now this is a really tough spot for Greeky, who's running out of food, can't afford to train any more Hypaspis at this stage. He's got the wood to be able to continue to build stuff, but without any food, what does he intend to do? There's all those idle caravans over there in the bottom corner, and Carnage still has 40 Woads, and GG. Let's go have a look at quest stats quickly. Man, that was dirty. I need a shower after that. So Carnage's Word Raider usage just tearing Greeky apart in that matchup. Only two units different. Wow, that's crazy. But Carnage here, here's where the score is really telling. Carnage able to kill a good 50 units more than his opponent, able to snipe a bunch more buildings too. I think Carnage's buildings lost tab was a bit inflated by the fact that he lost so many walls and would have deleted some as his opponent walked over them or whatever. Anyway, GG, well played.